Hello, you're watching China View on CNC World. I'm Du Jie in Beijing. First up, an official from British satellite company Inmarsat told Xinhua in an exclusive interview that Malaysian authorities are struggling to keep up with information pertaining to the missing Flight MH370.
New analysis of satellite data suggests that the missing Malaysia Airlines Flight MH370 quote-unquote ended in the southern Indian Ocean, Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak declared at a press conference held Monday evening. His conclusion was based on data provided by Inmarsat, a British satellite telecommunications company. Chris McLaughlin, Senior Vice President of External Affairs at Inmarsat, said Malaysian authorities may want to quote-unquote end this situation as soon as possible.
I think that the Malaysian authorities have spent many days looking at the possibility of where the flight ended. I think that they have struggled with an awful lot of information, a lot of challenges. I don't think that they have the Navy and the Air Force and the size that the Chinese have and that other countries have. And I think that they have made an honest attempt to try to run a very complex investigation. But I think people will draw their own conclusions.
According to McLaughlin, Inmarsat concluded that the pings received from the aircraft were passive signals that likely pointed to a southern route.
The situation, as we understand it, only from media reports, is that there was a rapid climb in altitude and a subsequent drop in altitude. That seems to come from Malaysian radar after the last ACARS contact took place. We are not able to say whether there was a climb or a drop because the aircraft doesn't report that data. All we know is that when the aircraft settled on its path south, it appears to have been, from the distance to the satellite, it appears to have been at a constant altitude.
McLaughlin said Malaysian authorities should have been better about sharing data with China, since the majority of passengers on board were Chinese.
There are over 10,000 wide-bodied jets, 90% of the world's wide-body jet fleet, already fitted with classic aero from Inmarsat. There are another 5,000 wide-body jets that are fitted with the Swift broadband, which is a more advanced half-megabit system and which is being tested for safety services. You could, if you mandated it, get information off of aircraft now. If one thing has to come from this dreadful occurrence and the sad experience for the families, then it should be, in recognition of those families' loss, that China helps to drive a requirement for legislation across the world so that just as when the Titanic sank and the safety of lives at sea law was passed, so in recognition of the loss of these families, data is compulsorily passed from all commercial jets every 15 minutes. The cost to the airlines of that would be approximately $1 per hour.
When discussing aviation security, McLaughlin added that he thinks today's aviation security systems should be improved.
I can't imagine travelling around the world without my passport being checked. So surely every country should ensure that it's checking against the stolen passport list. And I hope that the Chinese government will be amongst the leaders to ensure that this probable sad loss of family members is commemorated by a positive action that protects other families in the future.